about suffering and surrender. Surrender as a spiritual practice. Sometimes ago, a few years before Jesus Christ, around 500 years before Jesus Christ was born, Buddha was born. And Buddha had a discovery which sounded very trivial to me. Suffering. He discovered that there is suffering. And now I understand that, how important this discovery is. It is probably the very cause of mine or many other spiritual seekers. Is the main cause why we enter the spirituality. Why do we decide to go inside? Why I stop going, wasting my energy outside, and now I decide to find the cause of suffering, or to find happiness deep inside. I also discovered, probably you as well, although it can be very perverted. That means hidden. We may not be aware of it, that the suffering can be also caused by the very spirituality. And why is that so? Because I want so much to be transformed. I want so much to be different, to forget my past. Or I want to have more joy of life. I want to respond to situations very much different, but I cannot. And that brings me anxiety. I keep on failing. I think of myself as failure. There was a very beautiful yogi called Patanjali, and around the same time as Buddha, he wrote the book, the Sutras on Yoga. It's a book speaking on yogic psychology. And he said that the very nature of mankind is samadhi, okay? But there comes to be a little error in our evolution. And he said, in times where there is no samadhi, we tend to suffer. And one of the causes of that brings us anxiety is, he mentioned, is alabdha bhumikattva. Alabdha bhumikattva. Inability to reach the finer state of our concentration, of our state of mind, the clarity, the beauty, the bliss that we are so much longing for. And he said this may be also the very cause of depression, the spiritual pain. And it's a very bizarre thing, right? I do all those spiritual things, wherever background I'm coming from: shamanism, tantra, yoga, Vedanta, Samkhya, Christianity, etc. And I continue to suffer, regardless how much I practice meditation, how much asana I do, how much I go to church. I continue to suffer. And it's this inability to reach this beautiful state of bliss that so many beautiful yogis and gurus are talking about. And they are so widely available these days on social media. They speak only about those beauty. And you feel so much alone, that you are so far away from those beautiful people, but you are so inadequate. You are so shit. You are so nothing. You are so far away from that to reach that state. And that also brings doubt, that you may say, oh, maybe yoga isn't for me. Maybe a different sect should suit more to me. So how to make use of my spiritual tools. Let's call them spiritual tools. I'm sorry. Suppose my own personal tool to enter into meditation and have so-called successful meditation is pranayama. And if I continue to have miserable results, I start to doubt that pranayama isn't working. I continue to have doubt. I would like to say here that the only technique, speaking of meditation, the only technique for meditation is, and it's only one technique, although we hear of some thousands and thousands techniques. The only technique is to surrender, that I decide to disappear. I decide to die, my ego, my individuality. Because meditation, in its very end, is complete dissolution, that I disappear. Whatever stands for me, my identification, or how different I feel myself from the whole or from the outside, that must end. The so-called techniques of meditation, suppose vipassana, pranayama, laya yoga, kriya yoga, etc., mantra, they are only those techniques to which I cling to go within, to concentrate. They are the techniques of concentration. But the only way to do that is to surrender, that you have to disappear.